You know what? I'm going to tell you something that might sting a little, but trust me, it's going to be the wake-up call you need. Are you ready? Here it is. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your excuses, your sob stories, or why you can't do something. The world out there, it's not waiting for you to get your act together. It's moving on with or without you. So what are you going to do about it? You're going to work harder. That's right. Nobody cares. Work harder. Now, I can see some of you squirming in your seats. You're thinking, that's harsh. Surely someone cares. And you're right to an extent. Your mama cares. Your dog cares. Maybe your best friend cares. But out there in the real world, in the arena where success is won and lost, nobody cares about your problems. They only care about results. Think about it. When was the last time you got a standing ovation for showing up late to work with a great excuse? When was the last time someone handed you a promotion because you tried really hard but didn't quite make it? Never? That's when. Because in the real world, results are what matter, and results only come from one thing. But here's the beautiful thing about this harsh truth. It's liberating. When you realize that nobody cares, it frees you from the need for external validation. It frees you from the paralysis of waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect circumstances. Because guess what? Those things don't exist. So instead of waiting for someone to care, instead of hoping for a lucky break, you're going to put your head down and work. You're going to outwork everyone around you. You're going to be the first one in and the last one out. You're going to be the one who's still grinding while others are sleeping. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but I'm already working hard. I'm already doing my best. Well, let me ask you this. Are you really pushing yourself to your limits? Or are you just doing what's comfortable, what's expected? Most people are operating at about 40 to their potential. They think they're working hard, but they've got so much more in the tank. They've got gears they haven't even shifted into yet. And that's where you're going to separate yourself from the pack. You're going to tap into that extra 60. You're going to push past what's comfortable, what's easy, and venture into the realm of the extraordinary. This isn't about burning yourself out. This isn't about working yourself into the ground. This is about smart work, focused work, deliberate work. It's about making every minute count, every action purposeful, every effort aligned with your goals. You see, when you truly internalize the idea that nobody cares, it becomes a superpower. It becomes fuel for your fire. Because now you're not working for approval. You're not working for applause. You're working for you. You're working because you got a vision, a dream, a goal that's bigger than any obstacle, any setback, any naysayer. When you work like that, when you work with that kind of intensity, that kind of focus, that kind of purpose, that's when people start to take notice. That's when opportunities start to appear. That's when success starts to become inevitable. But it's the kickers. By the time people start to notice, by the time the opportunities come rolling in, by the time success is knocking at your door, you won't care because you'll have already found something more valuable than other people's approval. You'll have found self-respect. You'll have found the satisfaction of knowing that you gave it your all, that you squeezed every ounce of potential out of yourself. No, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This journey isn't going to be easy. There are going to be days when you want to quit, days when you wonder if it's all worth it, days when the voice in your head tells you to take it easy, to slow down, to give up. And you know what? Everyone else will tell you the same thing. They'll tell you you're working too hard, that you need to relax, that you're going to burn out. But nobody cares. Not about your struggles, not about your doubts, not about your fears. The only thing that matters is what you do. So when those tough days come, when the doubts creep in, when the fatigue sets in, that's when you dig deeper. That's when you remind yourself why you started this journey in the first place. That's when you look at how far you've come and realize how much further you can go. Hard work compounds. Every extra hour you put in, every additional effort you make, it all adds up. It's like interest in a bank account. At first, you might not see much difference, but over time, it becomes a fortune. Your skills sharpen, your knowledge deepens, your resilience strengthens, and before you know it, you're operating on a level that your old self couldn't even imagine. But you've got to be patient. You've got to trust the process. In a world of instant gratification, in a culture that celebrates overnight success, you've got to be willing to play the long game. You've got to be willing to work in silence, to grind in the dark, to keep pushing even when there's no applause, no recognition, no reward in sight, because that's where greatness is forged. In those quiet moments of struggle, in those unseen hours of effort, in those private battles against your own limitations, that's where you become the person you're meant to be. That's where you build the foundation for a level of success that most people can only dream of. Now, let me be clear about something. When I say nobody cares, work harder, I'm not saying that relationships don't matter. I'm not saying you should neglect your family, your friends, your health. What I'm saying is that in the arena of achievement, in the pursuit of your goals, you can't rely on others to motivate you, to push you, to believe in you. That has to come from within. You've got to be your own biggest fan, your own toughest critic, your own relentless motivator. You've got to care so much about your dreams that it doesn't matter if anyone else cares. You've got to want it so bad that you're willing to work for it. Even when the work isn't fun, even when it's not exciting, even when it feels like you're not making progress. So here's a secret that most people don't understand. Success isn't about the big moments. It's not about the breakthroughs, the eureka moments, the overnight transformations. Real, lasting success is built in the mundane moments. It's built in the daily grind, in the repetitive tasks, in the unsexy work that nobody sees and nobody applauds. It's about showing up every day, especially on the days when you don't feel like it. It's about doing the work, especially when the work isn't rewarded. It's about pushing yourself, especially when every fiber of your being is screaming for you to take it easy. That's what separates the achievers from the dreamers, the winners from the wishers, the doers from the talkers. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not who you know. It's the willingness to work harder than everyone else, day in and day out, regardless of whether anyone notices or cares. Now, I want you to think about something. Think about the person you want to be. Think about the goals you want to achieve. Think about the life you want to live. Got it? Good. Now, here's the question. What are you willing to do to make that vision a reality? What are you willing to sacrifice? What comfort zones are you willing to step out of? What risks are you willing to take? Because I'll tell you right now, that vision isn't going to manifest itself. Those goals aren't going to achieve themselves. That dream life isn't going to fall into your lap. You've got to work for it. You've got to work harder than you've ever worked before. You've got to work with an intensity, a focus, a determination that might seem crazy to others. But here's the thing. It's not about them. Remember? Nobody cares. This is about you. This is about you becoming the best version of yourself. This is about you maximizing your potential. This is about you creating a life that you're proud of, a life that reflects your values, your passions, your ambitions. When you start working like that, when you start pushing yourself beyond your perceived limits, when you start treating every day as an opportunity to get better, to move closer to your goals, that's when life gets exciting. That's when you start to feel truly alive. Because there's nothing more exhilarating than knowing you're giving your all. There's nothing more satisfying than knowing you're squeezing every ounce of potential out of yourself. There's nothing more empowering than knowing that no matter what happens, no matter what obstacles you face, you've got the work ethic, the resilience, the determination to overcome. Now, I'm going to let you in on another secret. The hardest person you'll ever have to lead is yourself. It's easy to work hard when someone's watching, when there's immediate reward, when there's external pressure. But can you work just as hard when no one's watching? Can you push just as much when there's no immediate payoff? Can you stay committed to your goals even when it feels like you're not making progress? That's the test. That's where champions are made. In those private moments of choice, where you decide to work when you could rest, to push when you could coast, to believe when doubt is screaming in your ear. Those moments define you. Those moments shape your future. And here's the beautiful thing. Every time you make the hard choice, every time you choose work over comfort, discipline over distraction, perseverance over giving up, you're not just moving closer to your goals. You're building character. You're developing mental toughness. You're becoming the kind of person who's capable of achieving anything they set their mind to. But it all starts with accepting that hard truth. Nobody cares. The world isn't waiting for you to get your act together. Success isn't going to come knocking on your door. You got to go out there and create it. You've got to work for it. You've got to fight for it. You've got to want it more than you want to breathe. So here's what I want you to do. Starting today, I want you to adopt this mindset. I want you to wake up every morning and remind yourself, nobody cares, work harder. I want you to plaster it on your walls, set it as your phone background, tattoo it on your forehead if you have to. Let it be the first thought you have when you open your eyes and the last thought before you go to sleep. And then I want you to act on it. I want you to look at every area of your life, your career, your relationships, your health, your personal growth, and ask yourself, am I working as hard as I could be? Am I pushing myself to my limits? Am I making excuses or making progress? Be honest with yourself. Brutally honest. Because remember, nobody cares about your excuses. Nobody cares about your justifications. The only thing that matters is what you do. So if you find areas where you're slacking, where you're not giving it your all, that's where you need to double down. That's where you need to apply this principle of working harder. But remember, it's not just about working hard. It's about working smart. It's about focusing your efforts on the things that truly matter, the actions that will move the needle towards your goals. Don't confuse activity with product. Don't mistake busyness for effectiveness. Every action should have a purpose. Every effort should be aligned with your vision. And as you do this, as you start to embody this mindset of nobody cares, work harder, I want you to pay attention to something. Pay attention to how you feel. Because here's what's going to happen. Your body's going to resist. Your mind's going to revolt. Every fiber of your being is going to scream for you to take it easy, to slow down, to give. But if you push through that initial resistance, if you keep going even when it's hard, even when it's uncomfortable, something magical happens. You start to feel stronger. You start to feel more confident. You start to feel a sense of pride and self-respect that no external validation could ever match. And that feeling, that's addictive, that's motivating, that's what's going to get you out of bed in the morning. Excited to tackle the day, that's what's going to keep you going when the work gets tough, when the challenges seem insurmountable, when everyone else has given up. Because now you're not working for anyone else's approval. You're not waiting for someone to care. You're doing it for you. You're doing it because you know what you're capable of. You're doing it because you've tasted what it feels like to operate at your full potential, and you can't get enough of it. When you start living like this, when you start pushing yourself to your limits every single day, the results will come. They might not come as quickly as you want. They might not come in the form you expect, but they will come. Because that level of effort, that level of dedication, that level of perseverance, it's unstoppable. You'll start to see changes in yourself first. And you'll become more disciplined, more focused, more resilient. You'll develop a work ethic that sets you apart from the crowd. You'll build skills and knowledge at a pace that leaves others in the dust. And then, almost without you noticing, things will start to change around you. Opportunities will start to appear. Doors will start to open. People will start to take notice, not because you're seeking their approval, but because your results are because your growth is unmistakable, because your success becomes inevitable. By the time all that happens, by the time the external rewards start rolling in, you won't need them anymore, because you'll have found something far more valuable. You'll have found self-respect. You'll have found the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you've given it your all. You'll have found the satisfaction of becoming the best version of yourself. And that, my friends, is true success. That's the kind of success that can't be taken away from you. That's the kind of success that doesn't depend on anyone else's opinion or approval. That's the kind of success that comes from embracing the truth that nobody cares. So I want you to leave here today with a fire in your belly and a determination in your heart. I want you to go out into the world and start applying this principle to everything you do. I want you to push yourself harder than you've ever pushed before. I want you to work with an intensity that makes others uncomfortable. I want you to pursue your goals with a single-minded focus that might seem crazy to the outside world. And when the doubts creep in, when the fatigue sets in, when you're tempted to take the easy road, I want you to remember these words: nobody cares. Work harder. Let it be your battle cry. Let it be the fuel that drives you forward when everything else is telling you to give up. You've got greatness inside you. You've got potential that you haven't even begun to tap into. You've got dreams that are worthy of your sweat, your tears, your relentless effort. But nobody's going to realize that potential for you. Nobody's going to achieve those dreams for you. That's on you. And the only way to do it is to work harder than you've ever worked before. So what are you waiting for? The world isn't going to hand you success on a silver platter. Life isn't going to pause while you get your act together. Time isn't going to slow down while you muster up the courage to chase your dreams. And the time is now. The person is you. The choice is clear. Nobody cares. Work harder. Make it your mantra. Make it your lifestyle. Make it the principle that guides every decision, every action, every moment of your life. Because when you do that, when you fully embrace this mindset, there's no limit to what you can achieve. There's no dream too big, no goal too ambitious, no summit too high. You've got this. Now get to work. The world is waiting to see what you're truly capable of. Show them, not for their approval, not for their applause, but for you. Because you know what you're worth. You know what you're capable of. And you're not going to stop until you've turned that potential into reality. Nobody cares. Work harder. Now go out there and make yourself proud. Go out there and become the success story you've always dreamed of being. Go out there and show the world what happens when someone decides to stop making excuses and start making progress. Your future self is counting on you. Don't let them down. Work harder